Rockcliffe, gee, that was strong by Rockcliffe. That is a terrific goal.
Fantasia or Fantasia?
Roaming Razbah. Fantasia!
I wonder how far we've got to go back to see when time on was allowed for a pig on the ground.
Welcome back to The Rock, the Razbah, episode 3 or 4. I'm not sure exactly what episode. We were out of airwaves for a couple of weeks because there was a few technical issues. Daniel Norton was in health and safety protocols, and we've flicked him away from the microphone this week. We've decided that he was bringing the show down.
Yep.
Orazio trained today.
Did train today. The boys trained. Me and Charlie were running around. Robbie was with us, and even Trav Boak was with us as well. So it was beautiful.
Now, we were supposed to go to air on Tuesday with this podcast, but unfortunately we were still waiting for Norts to come out, and we would have actually had the exclusive that Erin Phillips had signed with Port Adelaide's AFLW team. She's going to join us. She has joined us right here, but do you want to read out her list of achievements? Because you'll be here all afternoon, but I think it's worthwhile reading out.
How long do we have?
We've got 20 minutes, I think.
We'll start with basketball. A World Championship gold medalist, a 3-time WNBL All-Star, a WNBL champion, Olympic silver medal, a EuroLeague All-Star, a 3-time Polska. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah.
Polska champion, 2-time Polska All-Star, 2-time WNBA champion, and a FIBA World Champion bronze medalist. That's just her basketball. You want to touch on some footy, Rob?
Oh, outstanding. Look.
Yeah, we have royalty amongst us.
Football-wise, well, she's done it all, and we heard a good friend of ours in Adelaide go into a little bit of someone from Melbourne versus Erin Phillips and what everything should be named, but everything in the competition should be named after Erin Phillips. Adelaide Crows co-captain, as she shakes her head, three or 4 years running, 3-time premiership player, 2-time AFLW League Best and Fairest, which should be called the Erin Phillips Medal. She was 3 times All-Australian so far. 2 times AFLW Players Most Valuable Player, so the Lee Matthews of the females version, and the AFL Coaches Association AFLW Champion Player as well. So she's done it all. When you think about what there is to achieve in AFLW, you've done it all. So congratulations. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. We're excited to be here. Heard good things about this podcast.
Well, so did we. We thought we were going really well, but clearly not. We'll bounce from that. How are you after a huge day yesterday?
Yeah, look, it was a massive day when the announcement came out, and it was really overwhelming and quite emotional for many reasons. One, obviously, announcing that I get the opportunity to come and play for the Port Adelaide Football Club, a club that I was born into, and my dad was a big part of this club and something that has been I suppose a lifelong dream to come and play here, and to announce that was really, really exciting. And obviously, leaving a team that I spent 6 years at and had amazing success at the Adelaide Football Club, and have friends that are really close to me, which was also really hard. So it was a mixed emotional day, and obviously a great one in the end. And it was a big one though.
Nice. Let's go right back to the start when you were young and in and around the club. What was that like for you? Obviously, you played a lot of footy when you were younger as well.
Yeah, played at it's Smosh Westlakes now. It was just Westlakes Lakers back when I played. But it was fantastic. I was the only girl in the team and felt like I was just like one of the boys, and loved my footy, and played right up until I was 13 years old, and was over here in Alberton pretty much every other weekend and during training nights and training while Dad was training and getting my kicks in, and any time Dad had a game here, I'd jump the fence, and I felt like it was my game started when their siren and break started. So it was a lot of memories here, and it's just fantastic to be back, and a lot of memories obviously now being back at Alberton.
Rachel Spawn, we had her on earlier in the podcast series, and she pretty much claimed that everything that you've achieved in your career was down to her.
Yeah, fair.
She did. That's
fair.
what she said on this show.
Fair. I'd have to agree.
She said you got to a point where you couldn't play footy anymore because the women didn't offer that. You met her, she was a basketballer, and you just went down the basketball path. Factually correct, and do you want to talk us a little bit through your basketball journey?
Factually very correct. Spot on. It was funny because, Dad had always been my childhood hero, and looking up to him and watching him play footy. All I wanted to do was be like him and play footy. And got to the age of 12, 13, and Dad knew that my time in football was coming to an end, and I had to find a different sport, and there was no pathways for females past that age. So Rachel Spawn happened to be down at Dad's pub, which there's the Lighthouse in back when he owned it. So many memories there too. And Rachel Spawn was doing an event there for the Tour Down Under that was kicking off there. And he strategically introduced me to Rachel, and I had started playing basketball a little bit at that age as well. So he kind of shifted my my vision from always looking up to him to now looking up to Rachel, because this was an athlete, a fantastic role model to look up to and follow in those footsteps, because there was a pathway following Rachel than it was following Dad.
Now, you talk about that. Was it a hard transition or a really quick one? Because you look at Rachel Spawn, she's tall and you're very short, but you play clearly different positions on the basketball court.
She's got the handles, mate.
I know she has the handles. I've actually played a basketball game with her and outshone her. We'll get to that a little bit later. But so the dynamic of going into basketball, becoming the smaller type, the point guard around the court, did you just feel like you played a little bit of footy that way, that you could control the game and then it just transitioned easily into basketball?
No, my transition was horrible,
Yeah.
Terrible. I fouled out.
honesty.
I fouled out in every game for, I don't know how many months it was
Fouled
straight.
out?
Fouled out because I was a footballer
Yep.
trying to play basketball, and this 5 foul rule was ridiculous. You can't jump on people's backs, you can't hip and shoulder anybody. So it was a real difficult transition, because I had to kind of corral this physical energy that I had and tone it down a lot. And so it was a work in progress. I had really good coaches around me that helped me to do that, but it was pretty frustrating for my parents, who would get excited when I'd last up to halftime.
They could actually watch the rest of the game.
There's so many stories of basketballs transitioning to AFL. You've done it clearly the harder way. You've gone from the contact sport to the non-contact sport. Robbie Gray always talks about how good he was as a basketballer, how easy the transition was for him to be a great footballer. But you've gone the other way. So you found it really hard at the time, and then it's obviously a completely different network of people that you have to meet as well.
Yeah, for sure. And it was funny coming from basketball, and there is a lot of things that you can take from basketball to footy in terms of the reaction, the setting screens and how you use your body and things like that. But in terms of the size of a basketball court to the size of a football field, it's incredibly different, and it's a completely different energy system. I mean, I was first training for back in footy, haven't played for 17 years. I think I was struggling to make a lap of Footy Park. I was absolutely gassed. So
I struggle to make a lap now. I've only been retired for 3 months.
What was your training like now? Like, you've obviously come back and dominated the AFL. You look obviously very fit and strong. So you're pretty strict with your performance and your training and your diet and everything like that.
Yeah, look, it's I've been I started off as in my being a professional athlete pretty much at the age of 17. So it's been a few years between then and now, and to figure out how your body works, what works best for it, the things that you put in it and what you feed yourself. So look, I'm really kind of strict on that. Not crazy strict. I still enjoy a cold beer and after a game, but look, I definitely know how to handle my body at this stage of my career and get myself to a point where I can perform as best as possible.
Did anyone really help you along the way and sort of take you under their wing a bit and sort of show you that, or were you always just super diligent from the get-go?
Yeah, it was a lot of trial and error. Watching, obviously you learn a lot from other people, and when I got to the pros in the WNBA, it was a real eye opener, because I had a teammate who was actually my locker mate, and it was literally, we were sitting getting ready for a game. We're playing at the Mohegan Sun Casino, which was our home ground in Connecticut. And literally it was 60 minutes before the game started, and our coach usually comes in at about the 60-minute mark. And one of the ball kids had gone up and fetched her a hamburger and onion rings before the game. And that was her pre-game, 60 minutes before.
Wow.
So like I said, learn a lot, learn what to do and what not to do. And being next to her, I smell like onion rings the whole game. So
Well, that was
great.
That was my pre-game before today. I went and had a little schnitzel and chips and a pirate life before coming on air. So things aren't that different for you now that you're preparing to do media. You've transitioned into the media, but I want to touch on your basketball a little bit more because you went to the NBA, you played in the EuroLeague. Can you just talk us through that transition, going over to a country away from home, away from family? How was that for you?
Yeah, it was honestly really difficult in the beginning because I was so close to my family. I still am. And, you know, one of the things that was always going to be a challenge point for me is if I wanted to be professional and make a career, it was always going to be overseas in basketball. So I was 20 when I left to go over to playing in Connecticut for the Sun. I was drafted a couple of years before that. It was, you know, it was just a real eye-opener. I mean, you play here in the WNBL and you're one of the top players and life's good, and then you get to the WNBA and you just realise there's just another mountain to climb, and these athletes are just phenomenal.
Yeah.
You got some that can dunk, and you've got some, my centre who I played with in Connecticut the first year, she was 7'2", and I just remember going, wow, this is definitely the big league, just realising, we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto, we've got to bring it. And so, yeah, it's been an amazing journey, and obviously playing in Europe, in Poland, in Israel and Slovakia, and travelling obviously all through Europe with that, with those teams has been incredible.
And you dabbled in a little bit of coaching as well, is that right, with Dallas?
Yeah, so towards the end of my career, it was actually after the first year of AFLW, and I was going to finish off a contract as a player with the Dallas Wings, and I decided to get into coaching and just leave the playing side and keep playing footy. And I was really, really ecstatic with that, and being able to coach in the best league in the world, and with, the coach at the time was one of the best coaches ever. So it was amazing to be able to coach over there. It's obviously challenging because you've got, 12 players on a roster in the WNBA, and you've literally all those 12 players have been stars in their colleges, and that played 40 minutes, and you've got to somehow mold them into agreeing that they only get 20 minutes a game, some of them, and some of the personalities over there, it's not quite easy.
It's the same as footy. You get people, you got to play this role. It's exactly the same.
It's tough.
Is that a passion for you? Could you see yourself coaching some footy? Obviously, you've got the skills and sound like a great teacher already. Like, is that something for you you'd like to?
Yeah, look, I definitely, it's one of these things where, because I still love playing and competing so much, it's, I suppose, with that transition of what's life after being an athlete, and for me, it's definitely a challenge point, and it's something where I'll probably just test the waters on everything. I'd love to learn the footy sides, the ops sides of running a football club. Obviously, coaching definitely interests me, and, the thing is, I've got thousands and thousands of hours of flying hours being a coach for basketball and being a player for basketball, whereas footy, I've still got a long way to go and a lot to learn. So if that's the path, it's still a journey for that.
You don't want to be like your brother-in-law that just does everything. He's got his fingers in every pie. Sean Burgoyne, of course, we're talking about now. But you speak about footy ops and footy management. Should Chris Davies be worried?
Oh, yeah. Should he be worried?
You're taking his job.
Yeah, look, honestly, no, he should be worried. He's bloody really good at what he does. He's one that I'd absolutely love to learn from, and he'd be great to work alongside. Obviously, I'm really excited to work with Juliet Haslam. Obviously, Rachel Spawn as well would be amazing to work with her again. So, look, it's, across the board. I probably should say Sean as well, my brother-in-law who we'll be working with. So, look, I'm really excited to kind of, a bit like Sean, is to try everything and see kind of where the shoe fits.
We want to work with him too, but he's never here. He's just doing media.
Well, that's like everywhere. Everyone says they want to play with the Razbah, but he's never fit. But
ouch.
Now, we could talk to you all day about everything away from anything and your whole journey, which is an incredible story, and I'm sure it's been told many times before. But let's hone in on the Port Adelaide story, the feel-good story of coming home to play for the club that your dad was so good for. I think he won 8 premierships. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but Greg Phillips, he wore the 22. You get to wear that now. Yep. Are you going to put your hand up to be captain of this young team?
Look, I'll kind of leave it up to the playing group. I'm sure. I haven't even spoke to Lauren Arnell, our coach, or I'm assuming it's going to be, a player-voted system. So, if that's, what the team wants, then I'll, won't say no. I stepped away from it at the Adelaide Crows because I felt like it was time. I had been captain there, and I felt like the young leaders were ready to take that next step, and I didn't want to be in the way of them taking even another step. So I've always said whatever's best for the club at the time, I'll definitely put my hand up to do.
Startup club is always a challenge, and we're going into an 18 team competition now with the AFLW. What's the expectation around the group this year? Clearly, we don't have a playing group together. We're still waiting on the AFL to give us all the details around training, return dates, when the season starts. But what do you expect this team to do in the first season?
If I look back at 2017, and it was the inaugural year, and with the Crows, and you just want to you obviously want to put a team out there that's highly competitive, that plays a style of footy and a brand that people love to play and people love to watch, and hopefully wins your game. So obviously we don't have a start date, we don't have a CBA, don't know any of my teammates. So look, there's a long road ahead, and it's something that's really exciting because I look around at the junior talent that's here in South Australia. It's unbelievable. And so, I obviously am going to see myself in a role where, we're going to have a young side, and I'm going to, really be needed in a space where how can I help get these athletes to elevate and become elite and professional as quickly as possible so that they can perform in this league, which has already been going for 6 years.
Now, you've played AFLW, I think it's 5 years. With a couple of interrupted, is it 5 years?
6.
6 years, with a couple of interrupted final series. But walking out on Alberton yesterday in a Port Adelaide jumper, that must just give you goosebumps to bring back all the memories from childhood, but then also what lies ahead for you.
Oh, absolutely. Standing in front of the Foss Williams stand and just walking out in the oval, and it's almost like I can still hear Jack Cale in the huddles, and I used to catch him trying to, get excited if he swore, and I thought that was amazing. He threw the F-bomb, Jack Cale, and I'd run up and tell Mum, Jack swore. She's like, cover your ears. So, and I'd get deep heat from the trainers, and I'd see Alfie out there, like he still is. It's unbelievable. So, look, I'm so excited. Like I said, it was a goosebump moment for me because, it was just amazing walking across the ground.
I still see Jack now every once a week, and he still swears at the coffee shop now. I take Jack, my young fella, in there, and he's still swearing.
Yep. That's where I learnt it from. That's my claim.
What was it like telling your mum and your dad and your family that you were going to play for Port? Was that, I imagine it was pretty
Coming
special.
home.
Yeah.
Coming home, yeah.
I think it took probably a couple of times because I had obviously had really good conversations with them and leading up, and it was kind of going, should I, shouldn't I, is it right? And when I finally made the decision and it felt absolutely perfect for me, and I spoke to obviously Mum and Dad, and I think they were just really relieved that I could finally now make a decision because it was hard for them, so I think they were stressing out for me and just wanting what was best for me. And Dad, who obviously is a club legend here, and the whole time he was really good in the process of, you'll figure it out, you'll do what's right for you and weigh everything up. And, he always said, don't have me in the equation or factor, even though it's impossible,
I was going to say that's hard, right?
Yeah, it is hard. But I can understand as a parent, you never want to put pressure on your kids to make decisions because of you or what you want. So I can guarantee you, though, that the first time that I run out in 22, he'll have a severe case of hay fever, I'm sure.
Yeah, hay fever will kick in. But now that you've signed that huge contract at Port Adelaide, we've got the same management. He tells me it's very large, much more than what I was ever on at Port Adelaide. We won't see you living in a caravan anymore?
First of all, Tommy's done well. Like, he always looks after us, and living in a caravan, it was, it sounds kind of a bit crazy, but it was actually, it was really easy because it was, it was kind of living in luxury to avoid COVID, right? So I could play in the prelim and into the grand final. So, the whole team made sacrifices to try to avoid COVID, and no one was going out, no one was doing anything, and I was sleeping in a caravan. Some people were just, not sleeping with their partners. They were all separated. So, the caravan was actually great. It was some of the best night's sleep I've ever had.
I was going to say, did you see the kids at all? Or were you just sort of like, I'm away?
No, I was actually, sleeping in the caravan, obviously working for Mix, and I was doing radio from inside the caravan. And then during the day, I'd come in with a mask on. And obviously, if I'd hang out with the kids, it would try to be as much outside because they were in school. I didn't want to take them out of school.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now, I want to take you to a moment. Sorry to cut you off, Fraser. I want to take you to a moment. All our mail is, and this isn't Port Adelaide mail, this is media mail from my workplace. August has been suggested that this will be round one. They're talking the bye before the finals. They're talking Adelaide Oval, showdown, Crows v Port Adelaide. What does that do for you when I say that sort of stuff? You wearing the 22 for Port Adelaide, potentially prison bars, walking out on Adelaide Oval, potentially leading the group out.
You say prison bars?
Potential prison bars.
I mean, geez, get the opportunity to wear the prison bars. That's the next level. That is really next level. I mean, that...
You've got goosebumps.
I do. It's amazing. I think everyone's really looking forward to the showdown. I mean, I still love, obviously, the showdown in the men's game. So to be able to say, I'm going to play in a showdown, and obviously the first one ever, and if it is at Adelaide Oval, I imagine packed house and the Never Tear Us Apart song just absolutely booming and. It's just going to be an epic moment.
A few showdown medals, Rock.
Yeah, so I'm getting a little bit toey just thinking about it. I'm getting very excited.
Settle down, boys.
Now, we've only got a couple of minutes left. We've gone way over time already, but it'd be an oversight if we didn't talk about your family, your wife, Tracy, your kids. Let's start on Tracy. Yeah. How much of a support she's been for you over the journey?
She's been incredible, and even still to this point, and it's been 2.5 years since she's been home, since COVID, and that's been... the biggest challenge in our family at the moment is trying to when to get back, and we've had a season just finished and we've got one now potentially moving up forward, so hopefully we'll get back as soon as possible. But the kids as well to share this journey with them, and I was raised and born in a football club, and so that's something that's been really important to me, and having the kids now a part of the Port Adelaide Football Club, it's just something that I just pinch myself because some of my best memories are here at Alberton, and I've been lucky to put them in some premiership cups at the Crows, and that's something that I got to do with my dad. So I couldn't have asked for anything anymore.
That's special. That's really special. And then like when you switch off from footy, I bet they're pretty important just to get away from it because it can be pretty crazy. Yeah, at times.
Kids will absolutely distract you from from your worries and troubles are. They might add to it a couple of times, but they've been great. I mean, being a mum is the best thing that I've ever done, and I would trade everything that I've ever done to just be a mum. And it's been incredible, and to raise these three little people, and you think nothing in the world ever actually really matters. It's just about raising these three people, and hopefully they just grow up decent humans, happy and healthy. Yeah, parenthood changes your life, Razbah. It's all in front of you. Yeah. We speak of Brooklyn, Drew and Blake. They're the three kids. Now, just before we let you go, we've seen a bit of topical conversation this week around Nick Kyrgios being battered for going a bit hard in a charity game. Now, I was clearly very good in a charity game. We played for Cooper, Cooper's journey, who lost his leg, unfortunately. He decided to get that done. He's a massive Port Adelaide fan. Do you think I could transition to basketball now? Well, I think you and Nick Kyrgios should be on the same team because the carry-on in that game, I was like, is there some recruiters here for Rocky? Is he trying to make a team somewhere? You were everywhere.
I was hungover when I was out there on the court.
I called you the Windex man. You were shining the glass. You were just getting rebounds.
Assists. I couldn't hit a 3-point. That was the only thing I couldn't do. But I did everything else that night at Razbah. So, unfortunately, we have to let you go. We could speak for hours to you, Erin. It's been so good to have you on the podcast. I'm sure the numbers will bounce. There's no doubt about that. And we might even get you back. We might even get you as a co-host to Razbah. Just flat line at the moment.
Finding my feet.
I'd love to come back anytime.
No, thank you very much for joining us, and good luck.
Thanks, boys. Hurry up and get back on the field.
I'm trying very soon.
This place is different. It has a soul, a heartbeat. It gets into your senses. It's more than football. It's belonging.
Now, it was so good, Razbah. We couldn't let Erin go. We have some more questions for her. We've got one last segment to go. You want to kick this off?
I do, if I can. Now, we didn't touch on it earlier, but you wore the 13 playing basketball.
Yep.
It's not about me, but there's a little, I love the 13. So does it mean a lot to you? Is there something behind that, or is that just a...
Yeah, well, absolutely. I wore 13 because in basketball, numbers usually just go up from, up to 15. There wasn't any numbers above that. So when I went over to West Adelaide Bearcats, 13 was considered an unlucky number, as you, I'm sure, well know. Not many people want to wear it. And I was like, yeah, cool, 1 and 3. They were cool numbers. I'll take 13. And that kind of just stuck with me. And I was a big Reggie Miller fan, and he was number 31. So it was kind of flipped around. Yep. So throughout basketball, I was playing either with number 13 or 31, depending if, the team that I was at. If there was a 13, I was 31. So, I finished up my Opals career being able to wear 13 in the Beijing Olympics. I really wanted to be 13, but my team manager said, nah, 13's for tall players. So I got stitched with a number 4.
And now you enter 22, but let's talk about, there's a couple of other topics that have come up. The women's first showdown exhibition game. Juliet Haslam played in that.
Yep.
Rachel Spawn played in that. Jenny Williams played in that.
Yep. I think Spawny was a coach.
Yep. Sorry.
But Jenny definitely was playing in it. She tore it up. But it was a fantastic event. It was at the Footy Park and some will call it the inaugural showdown. But it was awesome. Actually, it was funny. I had a basketball game on that night. I was playing district for the Bearcats, and I actually told him I had a footy game to play and that I'd be late. And the coach was fuming. He was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "No, this is a big game." Yeah. And he's like, "It's footy. You play basketball." I said, "I know, but I don't get to play footy, and I love, this was the time I wasn't allowed to play footy anymore." So I roll into this game, have the absolute best time. Port win very convincingly, and then I literally bolted straight. Mum was waiting in the car up to North Adelaide to play against the Rockets, and I came in at halftime and finished off the game at basketball, and we won.
And got the 3 votes.
Thank God, because the coach was absolutely fuming at me, just going, "I can't believe you've just come from a footy game." Yeah. So I wasn't going to miss it.
No.
And there's also some other games that you're a part of. The Slowdown, Russell Ebert was a part of that.
Yep.
You were 15. You were playing against men, dominated 35,000 at Adelaide Oval, I believe.
Yep.
Just talk us through being able to play with Russell Ebert and what Russell means to you and your family.
Yeah, well, first of all, those charity games were just amazing. I mean, the amount of quality players and, just stars that were playing in that game, and the amount of people that showed up to support was just phenomenal. The money raised was incredible. So it was amazing to be a part of, amazing to be able to, like I said, I kind of, whenever there's a footy game and I get invited, I always just say yes, because I'm like, I'm in, this is my chance. So I got to play, and obviously played with Dad, Russell Ebert. It was absolutely fantastic, and and Russell still had it. He could still play, and he was dominating, he was holding himself back. But love playing with Russell, love working for Russell, and with him here at Port Adelaide for the community youth program. And you all know the stories of Russell, and he could sniff out a bakery from kilometres away, and you could keep your eyes closed. He would just say left, right, bakery's here. He'd know. He was like a GPS for bakeries. Yeah. And I remember we went down south, and we were a couple of hours away doing some schools up there, and stopped obviously in the bakery, and had a few of the boys in the back, and Russell had a feed. He had a pasty, a finger bun, and a iced coffee, or
always iced coffee.
Yeah, iced coffee, absolutely. And he goes, "Oh, yeah, you want to drive? You better drive." I was like, "Okay." And I'm thinking, you're only drinking iced coffee, you'll be right. So I end up driving. And then by about 20 minutes later, I'm driving. I look next to me. Russ has passed out. All the boys have passed out. I got the job of having to drive 2 hours. So I got a short straw. But look, Russell, obviously, so close to me and my family, and obviously miss him every day. But, so many good memories of him. And, really close with his family.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic story, the whole Port Adelaide tradition, and that's what means so much to so many people, and it's so great to have you back at the footy club. I'm only a ring in, a blow in compared to your families, but the Eberts and Phillipses and everyone, it's just a great story, and we're very lucky to be part of it as well. Orazio, now we're going to finish, we always finish on the highlight, the KFC Friday night footy. It's coming up this weekend. I think I may have won last time, I'm not sure. We've been off air that long that Norts is... He had COVID, health and safety protocols, and was away for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But you do the maths on that. I can't work out on that.
That's a long time for someone with COVID.
We have to predict the winner of Friday night footy.
Yep.
All brought to you by KFC. We thank them for that, and we get a little meal for that. We've got the young fella just weaseling his way in here. West Coast versus Richmond, Friday night. The winner and margin.
If Erin loses, is there a punishment, or
there certainly will be. She will get her back, and that may be on the socials, which is really important that we touch on the socials as well for the Port Adelaide family to stay engaged. I'll get to that, but let's go Friday night first.
Big out.
And it's at the G.
No, it's over in Perth at Optus Stadium.
Yeah. Look, it's got to be Richmond. It's got to be Richmond by at least 40 points.
40 points.
Tarrant and Cochin out.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm thinking Richmond still, but not by that much. I think West Coast sort of sniff a bit, 23.
West Coast were very disappointing last week at Adelaide Oval against Port Adelaide, but I'm going to tip West Coast to win this over there. I think they're going to respond. I think they're going to win by 3 or 4 goals. So
Erin, we may as well just get the punishment ready for Rock.
So I think they're going to win.
What's the punishment going to be?
You talk about those out, so we'll get to the bet.
Running down
but don't you do a runner on us. I know that you'll try and run off to America or something if you get rolled. But thanks again for joining us. It's been an outstanding chat, and we could speak for 3-4 hours and not even touch the surface with you. So we do really appreciate that. We're back. Rock the Razbah. It's great to be back. Get in touch with us on the socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Just connect with us. We'll get the fan questions up and going next week. Orazio, how are you going?
Just quietly good.
Good.
Very good. Just keeping a lid on it. But Charlie and I, we did a bit of match sim today. A bit of connection in the forward line. Might be back soon.
We need a little bit of connection in the forward line. So they're not too far away. But thanks again for everyone for joining us. If you want to get in touch, get involved in the socials. And good luck and go Port Adelaide on Saturday night up at Gazali Stadium, believe it or not.
Are you getting up there on the boundary? You'd be sweating if you got up there.
No, I'll be down to Erin's old mob to do the boundary against the Giants on Saturday afternoon.
Nice.
Thanks, boys. Thanks for having me.